Oh man, I'm getting the on-air sign. What is happening? This is the Kiesel Guitars live Q&A. If you're new to these Q&As, it's your opportunity to ask me whatever you want to know. It can be guitar related, racing, food, all those kinds of good things. I love all three. Really big into food and trying all kinds of different types of food and cooking and doing all that kind of stuff. I should say grilling, not cooking, is what I'm into. I actually do cook breakfast pretty good too, and I don't use the grill for that. I do some racing, some automotive racing, and of course, I build some guitars. So this is your opportunity to ask whatever you want to know. How these live Q&As go is I will show off a customer build. I typically have a deal of the live, a special deal on a guitar while we are live. And I will kind of give you guys an update on what's going on. First off, I should say I don't have any behind me. We're doing a limited swirl edition, and there's 3 colors to choose from. So if you've been under a rock, you might not know about this. I have 2 spots left and it's sold out. So I don't know if that's going to happen while we're live or if it's going to happen later this evening or tomorrow, who knows. So there's 2 spots left, 3 colors to choose from. You can use the builder or you can call my guys. That's what I would recommend. Call 858 Guitars and say, hey, I want one of the swirls. My guys will run in here and yell, hey, I got one sold. And we have 2 spots left. So swirl announcement, 2 spots left. 2, not 4, 2 spots left. I did cap it at 60. I wasn't going to do that many, but people were going crazy over them. My original idea was to do 44 of them because I'm 44. That was my original idea. It was less than the last run, last limited edition. I shouldn't call it a run. It's not a run, just a limited edition. And because of all the hype, and we got to 44 super fast we got to 44 on Friday, and it was like, oh, well, I don't want to sell out in one day. And so we kind of let it roll, and it takes longer to get the last few people in. And so I got 2 spots left to hit the magic number of 60, and then we're closing it. I do have my deal of the live. This guitar is going to sell for $3,000. It's got a custom 2-tone denim striped finish. It is an Aries with the Godo 510 trim. It's got a bevel delete. It's got an upgraded top, flame top. It's chambered. It's got a roasted maple neck, roasted maple fretboard, and roasted swamp ash body, one piece, of course, along with a bunch of other really cool options. Stainless steel jumbo frets, drop shadow logo silver, black chrome hardware. And you can see how beautiful this is, the ring inlays. So if you've been wanting something custom that I've worked on and done, I obviously did this finish. I do all of the denim finishes here. I think it came out really cool, and it is available. So if it's something you want, you can call my guys. We also deleted the trim cover on the back, so there's no holes there. It's a nice, clean look. This guitar is gonna go up in the custom shop if it doesn't sell now. It'll go in the custom shop around $3,800. So $3,000 is going to be an amazing deal on this instrument. So if you want to grab it, you can. Customer build, this is for Alfred. And we have a Zeus acoustic with the beautiful Royal Ebony top, mahogany body, Royal Ebony fretboard, little crescent moon inlay. Just a gorgeous build. These acoustic Zeus are just such awesome guitars. It's nice to have something that has a little more volume to it. It's obviously not going to have the same volume as a regular full-size acoustic, but these things are rad. So if you don't have a Zeus acoustic, it's a really cool model. It started out as kind of a couch guitar for me, and I made it during my birthday. It got done on my birthday, and I showed it off. And I think that day we made it available just for the day, and we sold like 25 of them the same day, and so we actually turned it into a model. So this is the Zeus acoustic, mahogany body, just a gorgeous build. So that was a custom build for Alfred, and it looks like we're just waiting on a payment to be able to ship it out. I'm going to do a little recap of Solo Nationals. We were back in Lincoln, Nebraska, racing at SCCA Solo Nationals. We did 2 events back there. The first one's a pro solo, and you have to qualify for that by having enough points, hitting enough events, and doing well at them. So they only allowed, I think it was like right at 300 competitors in that. Me and Zach both qualified. We both were in striking distance to win the year-end championship. And so that was the first event. The second event was actually Nationals, and they capped that at 1,355 people. It takes place over 4 days. So in a nutshell, we go back to the event. We run the pro. Car's running hot. So I run my first 4 runs in the morning on Saturday, give the car to Zach. Car's overheating. We get it cooled off afterwards. The afternoon, I'm leading the class. Then in the afternoon, I decide to take only 3 runs instead of 4. Do a cool down lap to give the car back to Zach where it's not as hot. We get it cooled down. He takes it out. It overheats again. So I decide not to take my run Sunday. The car has been feeling really lazy. It's sluggish to respond. It doesn't have the snappiness. It doesn't have the power. And we know something's up. We can't put our finger on it. We did break the rear end in the car, and something's not right with the rear end of the car. The car's not wanting to turn very good anymore. So I got a car that's lazy on acceleration and just doesn't have the horsepower. And when I go to turn in, the car's just not turning in. I think something broke inside my actual differential. I think something's staying locked up because the car is it's laid on every turn in, and I'm having to go a lot slower than I normally would in spots. So we win the pro overall, despite not really having a lot of fun, to be honest. The car, just knowing that it's overheating, I'm not running the power turned up, I'm not launching the car hard, and just trying to get the car through the event. So you kind of get through that, you win, yay. I mean, I'm glad I won, but it was kind of lackluster. And, not even taking my runs on Sunday. And then going into Nationals, we raced I took the car after breaking it at the pro. I took it down to the practice course, and the car is slow. I can't get within 6/10 of my times I've already set on a very short practice course. The car is even lazier to respond on acceleration, and it won't turn. So I take the car, take the rear end all apart. This is on Monday as my day off, and instead of having a day off, I'm thrashing like a maniac. Get the car all back together, getting ready to make a couple runs on the practice course. Someone oils the whole entire practice course down. I leave, come back 2 hours later, run the car, and it's not turning, it's not putting power down, it just feels terrible. I chalk it up to there's oil down on the practice course. So I go into Nationals not knowing what I have. Day 1, it goes okay. I'm dirty on two runs, or I guess it was only 1 run. Yeah, dirty on 1 run, and the time was okay. It wasn't great, wasn't spectacular. Zach did really good, picked up a cone, unfortunately. Lead day 1 by 1.4 seconds. We go into day 2, the weather changes. We're in the first heat both days. Day 1, surface temp is 84 degrees, and the ambience 80 degrees, sunny. We're not even we're not bagging our tires at the end. They're getting plenty hot. Car's got decent grip. Day 2, wind shifts. It comes from the north to the south, and we have about 55 degree air temps, 10 to 20 mile an hour winds, and surface temp is 62. Our car can't light the tires off. We're just struggling for grip. It was not much fun to drive. I had a soft compound tire available to me. My competitor didn't, so I decided to stick it out on my harder compound, which is the same ones he ran. And car's lazy. It's just slow. I mean, I'm accelerating out of these tight turnarounds, and the car has no power. And it just doesn't feel good. Girls complain about it. Zach's complaining about it. Everyone's saying the car just doesn't have any power and feels bad. Get home. I end up winning, 7/10 overall. Get home, and We took it to the dyno. Haven't ran it since, just went right off of that. So the car, the way I ran it, I should say, not the way I ran it, at 12 pounds of boost, car makes 355 horsepower to the wheels and 259 foot-pounds of torque. That's what it normally makes. And it's snappy. It's super responsive. It revs super fast. It's a rotary. It's, just goes through the RPMs really quick. On the dyno, my guy's dynoed my car so many times. He's like, your car feels like shit. It's not going to make any power, and it's super sluggish. He's like, you won with this thing? I'm like, yeah. So he tests it. The car makes to the wheels. It goes down to 289 horsepower, still at 12 pounds of boost. 289 horse from 355, 211 foot-pounds of torque from 259, and is not responsive. It's taking a really long time to see full boost. We're seeing full boost at like 5,200 RPM. We should normally see it at like 3,800. So the car was just kind of a turd to drive. It made for a not fun nationals. Between the heating problems at the Pro, not even taking all my runs, breaking the car, then you go into nationals with no confidence in the car because it felt so bad. Pulling the rear end apart, I've ripped so much stuff apart on it and found several problems. But I think all the times it's overheated, it's worn out the side seal springs, and we just have very little compression. So, day one nationals was a visual nightmare course. It was the West course. It's literally the worst visual course I've ever driven at a national level event, especially nationals. Day two, I thought, the East course, I thought it was a good course. It should have been really good for our car. But we just didn't have any power. Looking at other people's cars and videos, people are beating us in sections where we're just flat. I'm flat, holding the throttle all the way down. I'm losing quarter second here, quarter second there, 4/10 here, 4/10 there to other cars that are similar to mine. That's how slow the car was in a straight line. It just wouldn't accelerate. So we got some homework to do. Fired up for next year, though, for sure, with it being such a close battle. I'm going to be working on the car to get the cooling issues sorted, and we're going to make more power with the car than we've ever made. Car's been feeling kind of sluggish for a while now, so it's time to step it up, make the beast a little more beasty. But that's it for my nationals recap. The girls both drove awesome. Sean and Kayla had a great battle going. It came down to, 86 thousandths, Kayla? Kayla, on her third run both days, put down flyer runs that I believe would have put her fourth in open class, just behind her brother, which was awesome. Sean drove great. Nobody wants to lose, obviously, so it's still hard, but, it's to your kid. Zach drove really good. He did awesome, first year in the car. But, I need to listen to them more when, they're complaining about the car. I knew the car felt lazy, and I, kind of complained about it, but I tend to drive what I have, and I just make the best out of it. And I felt like I did that. I'm happy with how I ended considering what I had, but not happy how we got there, right? You want to be at an event like that. It'd be like you guys being in a guitar competition. You want to perform your best, regardless of you win or not. You want to perform your best. And I feel like, between the chassis issues, the motor issues, and then just the cold weather, our car's never been good in cold weather, which we're going to fix that. It was hard to really feel like I got everything out of the car on my third run. Day two, day one, it was fine. I got, about as much as I could get out of it. Still off pace a bit compared to how I normally am when the car's running really good and I'm happy. But day two, definitely a really, really, really off-pace day for me. And, I'm sure some of that was me, right? You go out, cold conditions, cold tires. Our car sucks in the cold. Yeah, come on in.
Working on a swirl right now.
Beautiful.
I'm getting the details stuff.
Awesome. Good job, Flock.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're down to one swirl. So if you guys want a swirl, call my guys. Time is running out. Remember, we're not repeating these colors. So The people before the last Swirl limited edition we did, they missed out. I don't know that I'm ever going to do another Swirl edition. It's not been talked about. I'm not going to say never, but there's no plans on repeating these colors. Anyway, enough about racing. Let's get into some questions for you guys. And I'll keep you guys posted as we make some good progress. Engine's coming out of the car to be rebuilt, and we're going on the engine dyno, and we're going to be doing some turbo testing with some various turbos. In fact, my motorsport manager, Garrett, I'm a Garrett contract driver, messaged me, Tim Coatley. He messaged me. He's also a Kiesel customer, ironically. I've been with Garrett Turbochargers since 2008 now. And I got assigned to Tim several years ago, and we're going to be trying out I shouldn't even call them their new turbos. They're older turbos now, but we just haven't been on the latest and greatest technology. So we're trying their G series, and we're on the GTX right now. So looking to make some more power out of the car and turn up the wick a little bit.
All right, let's get these questions started with Ben Jones.
Oh, Ben Jones, what's happening?
He says, hey, Jeff, is it possible with a CNC charge, of course, to build an Osiris base passive with a split coil pickup only?
Yeah, that's not even, I think we've already done that. I think we've done a split coil already. The passive is easy. That's just hand drilled controls. That's just a custom control, which we charge $100 for. I think we've already done a split coil Osiris. If not, that's $250 for something like that. How you doing, Ben?
Is there going to be any new Jason Becker SIGs?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I mean, I haven't been working on anything with Jason. We have 3 models to choose from right now, and they're all, pretty iconic guitars.
What's your current build time? Was going to order this week, maybe tomorrow.
So it depends. With the added staff and the efficiencies, here in the shop, we're trying to get it back down to as soon as 8 weeks. So I would say 10 to 14-ish right now. If it's a very, involved build and there's, stuff for me to do on it, it could be, quite a bit longer. But that's like kind of our norm right now.
Daryl is asking, are you going to swirl a guitar for yourself in Laker colors?
I am not. I think that would be really cool. I love the Lakers, as you guys know. I think that would be cool. I think I should definitely do that. But I am ordering a swirl. I am not taking one of the spots. So I'm getting a swirl. And my buddy, Mr. Steph Carpenter, is getting a swirl, and he's not taking one of the spots either. And my swirl is going to be the Tropic Purple and Silver. I'm doing silver painted pickups, 6-string multi-scale A2 guitar, purple bird's eye fretboard treated by Kayla. I'm going to do mother of pearl staggered offset rings, stainless jumbo frets, thinner neck profile, and GT reverse headstock, chrome hardware, truss rod cover delete, drop shadow silver logo. That's like the gist of what my build is going to be for my my swirl.
What is your favorite finish currently?
Oh man, that's a hard one. I mean, I love the swirls. I think they're super cool, and they're rare for us. So I'm vibing on those pretty hard right now, just because it's a limited thing. So probably the swirls.
Any plans for a semi-hollow headless 7-string?
No plans. No.
Just got my A2 run primer gray with black burst. I love it. What would you use to seal the number and signature?
That's awesome. I love the fact that you did the black burst on the primer gray. It looks so cool. Some of like the areas where it's just kind of bursting over, it gives it this almost like the trans white over like a flame top look. It's super cool. To seal that, boy, that's a really hard one. I don't really have a good answer for something that's going to seal it and look good, because anything you seal it with, is going to want to make it glossy. So that's a hard one. Something I do on my race car, when every part that I have on there, I write a date on there, a date that I put the part on or replaced it or did a oil change or whatever. And what I'll do is I'll write, like, let's say my fuel filter, it's a black anodized piece. And I write on there with silver Sharpie, just the date. And I take a piece of clear packing tape and I cut it so I don't have fingerprints on it. And then I put it over that. That way, when I power wash the car later or whatever, or I wipe things down, it doesn't smear that. So, I mean, clear packing tape you could use, but you're going to have a shiny spot on there. So it's a hard one. I don't really know what to tell you. Maybe they make satin clear packing tape now. I don't know. So I wish I had a better answer for you.
Next question is from Joseph. He's asking, do you or can you make a double neck acoustic Zeus?
I'm going to pass on that one, to be honest. I could. I think that's a lot of work to probably only sell you one ever. And I don't want to put all that engineering into figuring everything out just to sell one instrument, especially when they take so much time. I mean, the amount of R&D that needs to go into building that one off, you wouldn't want to pay that bill. It'd be a very, very expensive guitar.
Hi, Jeff. So rad to see P90s in the Guitar Builder. There are only a few options for these guitars. Will there be an option on more guitars in the future?
We'll see what time brings. I mean, the options for the P90s are the ones we already have programmed as people order them. So like if you wanted P90s, you could call my guys and say, hey, I want an A2 with P90s. Actually, I don't know if we could do it with the bevel. We might not be able to. But you could call and find out about a specific model adding P90s to. And if you end up doing it, you're going to pay a custom programming fee, probably $250, nothing crazy. And then you could be the reason we add it to another model. So call my guys.
Next question is from Dustin. He is asking, what is the most difficult model to produce?
Most difficult model. I would say the most labor intensive, not necessarily difficult, is the K series. There's a lot that goes into those. A lot of my time as well. So probably the K series.
Steven is asking, is it possible to get Seymour Duncan pickups installed on a multi-scale order?
It is not. The reason why is we have a specific angle we put our pickups at. And we did try offering Seymour Duncans, and it just kind of turned into being a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. We would order pickups from them. They would take sometimes 12 weeks to get us pickups, sometimes longer, 20, 25 weeks. Meanwhile, the guitar's done and sitting here, and I'm waiting for a set of pickups just to be able to ship it out. So what you can do is you can contact Seymour Duncan, get a set of pickups for our scale, for our multi-scale. They do have that. They know what we need. And you could send those in for your build. That would be the way to do it. Or just buy the guitar from us, buy the pickups from them, swap them yourself. That will actually save you money, and you'll have the original Kiesel pickups. Who knows? It might surprise you. You might like those more.
Frank is asking, to clean a natural finish guitar, what type of liquid can be used?
So if you're talking about natural finish, you're probably referring to tongue oil. Really the best thing to do is wipe it down with like a clean, white t-shirt, something like that. And as far as cleaning it, you can use, some rubbing alcohol, a little diluted. That can work. You just don't want to get the instrument wet.
Next question is from Ron. He's asking, with the A2 bass, can I get an Icon headstock instead of the GT if I call in?
You could, but it'd be yours. It'd be no return. Just because we don't think it's a good fit look-wise for the A2, and we feel like it'd be hard to resell. Not saying you have bad taste. I just don't want to get stuck with something that's going to be more limited for us to resell.
Do you guys have any plans to start making amps?
No plans on that. No, I couldn't see ever doing that, to be honest. If we were going to do something like that, I feel like we'd have to team up with a good U.S., good reputation U.S. based company to make something for us with our name on it. Someone that has a good reputation and again made in America, not someone that makes anything overseas. That wouldn't be for me.
How would you spec a Delos to get a 60s Strat sound?
You could go with Mark singles on it. You definitely want to stay with 22 frets. Definitely want to add the secondary tone knob. I would put the 510 bridge on it. I think that's going to be the closest. It's still not going to be like that 6-point trim. So it'll sound a little different, but you're not going to be dealing with the 6-point trim. So that's kind of nice. Alder body, 10-inch radius on the neck, thicker neck profile, all maple neck. I think you'd be doing good, something like that.
Next question is from Ty Jacobs.
Ty Jacobs.
He says, Jeff, wanting to get a multi-scale trem, and I think a Vader is perfect. I'd like to do a Bloodwood fingerboard. What topwood would you pair with it?
Ooh, so Bloodwood. That's a hard one, man. I gotta be honest, Ty, I'm really not a huge fan of Bloodwood fingerboards myself. I think they're neat, but I think it's gonna make it hard to pick something that's gonna pair with that looks-wise. I'm also not a huge fan of Purple Heart fingerboards either. I like kind of the standard stuff, and I feel like it gives a lot more creativity. With a Bloodwood fingerboard, maybe you go with a swamp ash top, do some sort of a raw tone finish, like maybe a raw tone black, which still is a cool look. But if you're trying to pull off like that Darth Vader look, you probably want something more red than Bloodwood anyway. So that's probably not going to get you the look you want. I kind of stumped, man. Those are just ones I just don't ever go with, to be honest.
Next question is from Peter. He says, I lusted after carving guitars in Guitar Player magazine mid to late 80s. You're Kiesel now. Why would I buy a Kiesel?
Oh, man. Well, that's a great question. So my grandfather started the company in 1946. It was called Kiesel. So maybe you didn't know that. Back when you were lusting after carving, it was actually Kiesel originally. He wanted to sell direct. And so what happened was he had dealers signed up, and he didn't have anything in the paperwork saying they had to do a certain quantity to have exclusive rights to selling Kiesel. This is in the 40s. And back then, you just named something after your last name, Kiesel, right? That's our last name. So he had to come up with a way to get out of the contract and still make his product and sell direct. Nobody sold direct back in the 50s, but early 50s, late 40s, by the way. So Grandpa decided he's going to fold the Kiesel brand. And actually, our current logo is his original logo from 1946 that he hand drew himself. So that might be why you'd want a Kiesel, because my grandpa was a guitar player, was not into amps and audio. He was a guitar player, a pickup winder, and he was a professional musician. So he needed a new name. And so he took his first two born kids, Carson, Gavin, C-A-R from Carson, V-I-N from Gavin, made up name, Carvin. There's no such thing as the Carvins. I would be working in our local showroom as a kid, and people would come in, I'm good friends with the Carvins. What's my discount? And it's just like the funniest shit to ever hear. You know your family, and it's like, it's just kind of a crack up. So it always cracked me up. But long story short, my dad took over the guitar business in 1970 when my uncle said, we're not going to make guitars anymore. My dad said, well, wait a minute. My dad was a guitar player, was in bands all growing up, and said, hey, what if I come down, quit my job in LA, come down to the Escondido area, which is where we are now. This is in 1970. My dad's 20. And I take over the guitars. Can I run it my way and do what I want? My uncle said, yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much we're going to be able to pay you because, we're not doing very good with guitars. So my dad turns, my grandfather changed from Kiesel to Carvin. My dad takes Carvin guitars that was just kind of guitars made sometimes parts from other people and bolted together by us. And my dad starts making custom guitars, turns it into a full custom shop, and takes us to the next level. And then come 2012, I get involved with the design work and I take over the designs from my dad. And I did a lot of things to improve on what my dad had already laid down, a great, amazing foundation, a custom shop, and made a ton of improvements since then. And me and my dad worked side by side together. And we basically separated from, Carvin. It was Carvin Corporation split into two, went two ways. My uncle and his two kids made Carvin Audio, and me and my dad changed the name back to our original Kiesel Guitars. And Kiesel Guitars owns Carvin Guitars and everything Carvin Guitars ever was. And we still have one Carvin model, the Jason Becker 200, the JB 200. We don't make amps and audio. We, don't do anything, with them. They don't make any guitars. They can't use the Carvin name on instruments, and if they ever did instruments, and they can never use the Kiesel name. So Kiesel Guitars is Carvin Guitars. The guy that built the guitars that you love from the 80s is my dad. And he's still here with me, and we're kicking ass and making the guitars better. So I can tell you this, the guitars now far exceed the guitars that we used to make, with improvements like carbon fiber rods in every neck, stainless steel frets, quarter saw necks, thermal treated necks, our glass-like finishes, our woods, the pickups. It's not what the Carvins were. So if you are lusting after that, and that was good enough for you, a Kiesel's definitely going to be an improvement from that.
All right, next question is from Steven. He's asking, is it possible to get a California burst that isn't so big in the center, so basically thicker color around the edges?
Absolutely. You can call my guys and do a special request for a thicker burst on a California burst.
Can we order a master grade one-piece top?
You can, but it would depend on the wood, would determine the price and what model it's for. But yes, you can.
Can you go over the price on the Deal of the Live?
Deal the Live is going to spec out to just under $4,000, and we're looking to put it up for $3,000 while we're live. So an amazing price on this guitar. It is an Aries bevel delete, has an upgraded top on it, flame top, and then you have a one-piece roasted swamp ash body. It's been chambered. Beautiful roasted neck and fretboard, matching headstock, of course. Just an amazing guitar. Yeah, it's a lot of really cool options on it. It's pretty well loaded up. It's actually for a really good customer, and I think he has 6 builds in the works right now, and he wanted to change something slightly and said, hey, look, I'm not even trying to have you guys do an order change fee. I know you don't do that. Just, go ahead and let someone else get it. And here's what I want to do instead. So, he paid his restock fee. So the build, is right at about $4,000. He paid his, 20% restock. So we're letting it go for the live at the $3,000, which basically just gets us back to what he would have been paying for the guitar. If it doesn't sell during the live, it'll go right in stock at the normal price.
Ty Jacobs was asking what you think of spalted maple with Bloodwood.
That's actually not bad. But for me, with spalted maple, there's so much of like the browns, creams, and black color variant on there. I don't know that a Bloodwood is going to pair well with that unless you did like a Bloodwood layer, like a 3 PB in the body. Then maybe that would tie in. Maybe even do some Bloodwood pickup bobbins. I'd use the Builder, dude, and see if that thing looks good. Maybe I'm tripping, and maybe it'll look really good with some black inlays. And I don't know. I just struggle with the Bloodwood, dude. And when I think of spalt, I think of pairing it with mahogany bodies, doing like a 3PB, just the normal black one, maybe even a rich light board, pure black board, or a royal ebony board. That's what I think of when I think of spalted maple, possibly a trans black burst on it. I just don't see the red. That's just me. But I haven't done it on the builder. So try it on the builder and see if it looks good.
Do you plan on offering other colors for rich light boards?
We'll see what the future brings on that. Rich light spiked up. We did a lot, and then it's kind of steady, but I don't think we're doing as many. I need to run a report and see how many we're doing. I stopped ordering it. I turned it over to my purchasing department. So, I don't exactly know how much we're doing, and I'll look into that. Rich light is really hard on our bits, so we did have to charge more for it. And I might have to continue to go up because we have to replace bits pretty often with the rich light because it is so hard.
Chris is asking, have you made a K-Series base?
I have not. I've been asked quite a few times, actually, but no K-Series base.
Brian is asking, how many guitars are in your personal collection and any chance of a Jeff collection walkthrough?
I don't know on that. I did have quite a few. At one point, I did let some go before we did the transition from going to Kiesel. I did sell off quite a bit of my collection then, just to not have to move stuff, free up some capital. You don't know how things are going to go. I even sold a race car at the time too that I wish I never had sold. Obviously hindsight is 2020. But yeah, I have a fair amount, I would say. I don't know exactly how many. And then there's a shared collection between myself and my dad of a lot of historic stuff, that we would own equally, that we've bought through the company. And so we would, be co-owners of that. And there's a fair amount of that.
We got Scott Janzer in here saying there's been at least one SH550 with P90s, even though it's not on the builder.
Dang, Scott, get him.
Of course you'd know that, Scott.
What's up, Scott? Yeah, it's something we should probably add to the SH550. I think that's a great thing. Maybe you can tell Jeremy, Scott, since you deal direct with Jeremy all the time. Scott, I got to give Scott some props here. Scott Janzer, he is an amazing fan of us and what we're doing here, and he puts a lot of work and effort in. He will work directly with us and tell us, hey, the builder, these things are quirky. You need to fix these things. He's answering customers in his free time. He's not employed with us at all. Scott, I just want to thank you, man. And there's other people out there that help, Joe Brooks and Sean Moore, and there's lots of people that are out there helping. But I gotta give Scott just a huge shout out because the amount of times he's giving very accurate information, because sometimes people are helping, but they're not giving super accurate info. Like it could be kind of right. Scott's info is, sometimes I look, I'm like, well, shit, I would have said the exact same thing. So Scott, props to you, man. Just thank you for what you do.
It's kind of a weird question, but someone's asking, does the factory have a shower on the premises?
No. It has an eye wash station, a few of them in case someone gets something in their eye, but a shower on premise. That's a weird one.
Maybe we got someone here working 24 hours a day.
Lock them in.
Pale Moon Ebony or Flamed Maple?
Totally depends on the build. I could think of builds that one would be not good on versus would be amazing on. I don't know. That's a hard to quantify answer. It's all relative to what you're putting it on.
All right, this is going to be the last question. Will you ever open the factory for tours again?
Maybe. We have talked, potentially about doing some kind of a day here at the shop where we open it up on like a Saturday. We have some bands, and we shift our staff schedule around so they work on a Saturday and potentially are off, that Monday prior, and give factory tours. Just a one day, like some type of like could it be an annual or a semi-annual Kiesel Fest, if you will. I think that'd be really cool. I know my son, Zach, really wants to do something like that, and it's just all about getting the timing right on that. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out today. Thanks for listening to me go off about my racing. I know that a lot of you are not here for that. It is a big part of my life, so thanks for caring, and thanks for letting me vent a little bit there. Just a very discouraging, disappointing, lackluster year, I guess, is if I had to sum it up, I would say a lackluster Nationals. Spring Nationals was really good. The car was awesome. It was the first time we overheated it. We thought we lost the motor, and we probably really did lose the motor. It did keep running, but it really probably shouldn't have kept running, and the car has been off since. So thanks for listening, and we do have one swirl left, so hurry up and get that last swirl spot. I'm out. Later.